more than we thought this morning. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Proverbs chapter 3. And who would like to read verses 1 through 20? Oh, sorry, 1 through 12. Oh, please go ahead. Thank you, Sister Nicole. Those are absolutely wonderful words that we have here about trusting and honoring God. And Solomon here is at the beginning of Proverbs, and so this is written my son, so he's telling his son, but actually he's telling all of us. And we remember from last week, Solomon was the second wisest person to walk the earth. Jesus obviously was here, and he was wiser, but he asked for wisdom, and the Lord gave it to him. And here he is sharing it back to us. And such wonderful words here in verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not on to thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. That's a really nice way of saying you don't have all the answers, you don't know everything, you're not as smart as you think you are. You need to trust in the Lord. And the way we trust in the Lord is we study the Bible and we practice what we read in the Bible, and the Lord will help us. We can pray and study, and the Lord will reveal it to us. And the Bible, we talked last week where Solomon came from, all of that, and some other parts of the Bible, but it's all connected. All 66 books of the Bible are connected for our benefit. God gave it to us. And so here's his words telling us to trust him, which is hard to do. It's hard to trust in the Lord. Sometimes we think, oh, we know how to do that. We're going to be just fine. Think about the Hebrews when they went into the promised land. You remember when they went into Ai? Oh, yeah, we're blessed. We know what we're doing. We got this covered. We're good to go. What happened? Yeah, they got defeated, right? They got defeated. They were, what's going on? What did we forget? They forgot to seek the Lord. And the Lord wants us to seek him every single day, to include him in our life, not just him, but his teachings. And he wants us to acknowledge him, not just privately, but even publicly. And he wants us to allow him to help us to determine the way we should go. And if we do that, you may not think it is, it's easier. If you do what the Lord suggests that you do or commands us to do, depending on where it is, your life will be better and easier. Now, does it mean you won't have problems? No. Does it mean you won't be in hard situations? No. Doesn't mean any of those things. But it certainly means that the Lord is there for you and will help you through whatever it is that you might be going through. And another one here, it says, be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. There are so many things that we think we got the answer. We think we know what we're doing, and we don't. We just start charging, running into some situation, and it doesn't work out. And that happens all the time. It happens to me all the time. And I try to follow the Lord, and the Lord reminds me, oh, yep, what'd you do? You you didn't follow me this time. What happened?" So he reminds me. I get reminded a lot. Also honor the Lord with thy substance and with thy first fruits of all thine increase, so thy barn shall be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine. You could probably go 2 minutes from this building and see something, a sign or a billboard or anything at all that would tell you about how to become rich. You'd probably find that, right? You go up there on Dorset. I'm sure you could do that within a minute of being on Dorset. And everybody's got the answer on what it's going to take to be rich. And here the Lord tells us here so plainly and so obviously, honor the Lord with thy substance and with thy first fruits of all thy increase, so thy barn shall be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine. This is God's message. It doesn't have to go through advertising. It doesn't have to go through marketing or anybody else or billboards, anything like that. This is the Lord telling us, and we just have to believe him and believe in him and follow it. The next verse here, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. I've been chastened before. Lord has chastened me before. There's things I haven't done the right way. Sometimes I wasn't intentionally doing it the wrong way, but I did, and I was responsible for it. And the Lord let me know that's not the right way to do it. You need to do it a different way. Yeah, the Lord got my attention. Sometimes he has to get our attention. We're so much trekking on something, we're not even thinking about what the Lord wants us to do. And he has a way of breaking that and helping us to see it the right way. For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth, even as a father the son in whom he delighteth. And so there you go. There's no way we could miss all those words from we should have covered last week. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, it does. It affects us in many more ways than we think. And sometimes people look at you to be an example, and you're not thinking about that. You do something stupid, and that's when you think about that. Think, wow, what a bad example. Uh, and so, but that's exactly right, Brother Jim. And had they sought the Lord before they went in, they would have known about that person and what they were doing. They would have known the whole story about it. But it's just a reminder, we have to be vigilant. We can't follow this on Monday and say, well, all right, we're taking a break on Tuesday and Wednesday, and we'll get back to this on Wednesday. Yeah, we'll be good. We'll be good for a little while. Right, right, right. And the Lord gave them the battle plans, and coming around from a weird direction was because the trees were making a lot of noise with the wind. And so it covered the movement of the troops. And so Lord knows everything. It's beyond our understanding that he can know everything, but he does. And so trusting and honoring God, it's only here in these verses out of Proverbs, but such important thoughts for us to think about and to really study and to know. Let's go on to chapter 3, verses 13 through 20. If somebody would like to read those. Sister Doris gets extra credit this morning in her reading. Okay, congratulations. That's good. So, the value of wisdom. So, here we are. Solomon is one of the wisest men that ever lived and one of the richest men that ever lived. And he had everything, right? You look at gold, rubies, all the things he's talking about. He's not just talking offhand about things that could be. He's talking about things that he had, things that were in the kingdom at that time, right? And so he is saying, happy is the man, and this is not the royal man or the prince or the king or whomever. Happy is the man, every man. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom and the man that getteth understanding. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. So we could go out there, back to Dorset, look at those billboards. We could follow every single thing they tell us. Maybe it works. Maybe we get all this money and we get all these riches and all everything else. Guess what? God's word right here is telling us that that's not it, right? And so it's great. It's great that someone in his position, in Solomon's position, is saying, do you think all that stuff matters? People dangle that stuff out like a carrot. You know, here's all the stuff, and here's what you need to do to be successful. And it's not the way to success. It's not the way to happiness, for sure. Okay, verses 21 through 35. Sister Doris already got a big start on that. Would somebody like to read that? Thank you, Sister Joanne. What do we think about this? Yeah. Hmm. It is. Hmm. And the Lord wants us to trust in Him. And Sister Myra, one of our church members, is not with us anymore. My mother-in-law, who she and I talked a lot because we were both worriers, and we usually did it at different times. So she would worry when I wasn't worried, and vice versa. I would worry when she wasn't worried. And so either she would tell me or I would tell her, "What are you worried about? Nothing's going to happen. Lord's taking care of you. You're doing what you're supposed to do. Don't worry about it." And uh, and so that's what Solomon is saying here is if you do it the way you're supposed to do it, with sound wisdom and discretion, then you're going to be all right. Verse 24, when thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid. Yea, thou shalt lie down, and thy sleep shall be sweet. And you don't need to be afraid, verse 25. And so, but all throughout all of that, we have to trust in the Lord. So do we trust in the Lord 100% of the time, or do we trust in the Lord and then we forget? Yeah, we forget. We forget about the Lord. How can we forget about the Lord with so many things around us that are evidence of the Lord in our lives? Uh, Everything you see, even this building, the Lord is responsible for this building being put together. Without the Lord's blessings, it never would have happened. And so many different things uh, teaching us here to trust in the Lord and not to trust in wealth or other things, which is really just chasing rabbits. Which, by the way, I saw Drew chasing a rabbit the other day. He didn't catch him. I wouldn't have caught him either. So it's not anything against Drew, but he's faster than I am, and he didn't catch him. Verse 27, withhold not good from them whom it is due when it is in thy power of thine hand to do it. Say not unto thy neighbor, go and come again, and that tomorrow I will give when thou hast it by thee. So this is a situation where somebody has the ability to help somebody and they don't want to do it. And they're saying, well, I don't feel like doing it today. Why don't you come back tomorrow and see how I'm feeling tomorrow? That's not the way the Lord deals with us. How's the Lord deal with us? Mm-hmm. And we were surrendered ourselves to the Lord to be saved. Did he say, come back tomorrow? Did he take that approach with us? No, we shouldn't take that approach with other people either. Devise not evil against thy neighbor. Strive not with a man without cause. So why would we strive with somebody without cause? Is it because of their appearances? Because how they look? Hmm? Well, yeah, just to be ornery too. That's true. Yeah, for some reason, yeah, I don't like the way they look. I don't like the way they smell. I don't like the way they walk or what kind of car they drive, whatever it is, something, right? So you just decide to deal with them in a way that's inappropriate. Yeah, yeah, they do. And so the curse of the Lord is in the house of the wicked, but he blesseth the habitation of the just. Surely he scorneth the scorners, but giveth grace unto the lowly. So he's telling us we should be the lowly, right? Yeah, we should be the lowly. Jesus was the lowly. We should be the lowly. The wise shall inherit glory, but shame shall be the promotion of fools. Such good words and lessons and all that, chapter 3. There's no way we could have avoided that. So now we're caught up. Now we're starting today's lesson. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with chapter 4. If someone would like to read verses 1 through 9. Thank you, Brother Jim. So here we are talking about acquiring wisdom, and Solomon is kind of opening the aperture a little bit, not just talking to his son, but he's saying, "Hear ye children." So he's making it a little bit broader in terms of instructions to the children, and all of us are children. So there's none of us this doesn't apply to. And here he's saying in verse 5, "Get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth." So if we're going to get wisdom and get understanding, we have to do something. We have, we have to take an action. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point, and we can learn so much. I mean, not just by reading books. I mean, you can watch what's happening to people, right? Just look at what's happening with people. If you think, well, yeah, I think I might want to do that. Well, so what's happening to people that are doing that right now? Or if somebody did that last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever, you can take a look and see what was it like for them, right? You don't have to you don't have to go through it. And so with my kids, it was funny because you get to a certain point of you want to share a lot of advice, and and I think it was Tyler that said, "No offense, Dad, but I want to have some of my own experiences to learn." I'm like, "That's interesting. I don't think I ever heard that before." But I do understand it though, right? Because you don't just want to say, "Oh, here's a list of 100 different rules. Okay, fine, whatever." It's like you can tell people things, but when you go through an experience yourself, you definitely learn one way or the other. You definitely learn, right? What works and what doesn't work. And I know I'm that same way too. You want to learn things yourself, and it's like, hey, I know I can ice skate, and I went out there. Yeah, no, I'm not an ice skater. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. 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 Yeah, most definitely. And I think you live your life. You're going to live your life, and you're going to have experiences and all those things. But God's got to be included. The Bible's got to be included, so you can take it all together. And if you leave it out, if you leave God out, uh, it's obvious what's going to happen. Uh, Whether you're saved or not saved, it's obvious what's going to happen. Yeah, yeah. And if you, yeah, and you don't know whether it does or not if you don't know God's word, right? So, so it's important. It's important for us to know what God has to tell us. And you brought up Solomon, it's just like the rest of the Bible. They're human authors, and they were human like us. They were Christian, human writers, yeah, and they wrote what God told them to do. They were obedient, and they did that. And thanks for their obedience that we have it here for us to see. Uh, God blessed us and blesses us through all of those great people that were dedicated. Yeah, sure. Hmm. 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 Yeah, that's absolutely right. And Lord gave us the wisdom that's here. The Lord established everything we see. He's the creator of all, the master of all, the knower of all, and the wisdom of the world. Yeah, some of it's a subset of that, and some of it isn't at all, right? Some of it is perfectly aligned with what the devil wants us to do, and uh, for us to get wisdom and get understanding is so important for our lives. It's so important for each and every one of us, and we're not crossing the finish line. We're not saying today, I got all the wisdom, I read all this, I understand it, I'm done. Uh, every single day we continue to learn and learn more about it. Huh? Yeah. 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 That's right. And don't brag too much, right? And you'd be eating your own words if you're not too careful. Okay, well, let's go on to verses 10 through 19, Proverbs 4, 10 through 19. Would somebody like to read that? Thank you, Brother Homer. So this is about avoiding bad company, and I think we all heard this from our parents of don't hang around with those people, whatever they're doing. Uh, Maybe they're going stealing things, breaking things, vandalizing things, doing drugs, whatever it is, a long list of things people are doing. Uh, my parents would say avoid doing that. And I think this says what are the penalties if you don't do it correctly. Uh, and he gives insights into the thoughts of those that are wicked, for they sleep not except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. And it goes on and on. And so it was the hardest thing for me to realize that there are people that are like that. I just couldn't accept it. I was like, no, there's no people that are wicked that are wake up in the morning trying to do all these things that the Bible just says here. But it's absolutely true. And we have to know that there's people out there that will look at what we're doing and say, "Oh, we've got to stop that. That's not something we're going to allow to continue, and we're going to thwart it any way that we can. They're going to the top of our list to do whatever we're going to try to do." And so even today, you worshiping, you being here in church today, there's somebody out there that doesn't want you here, that doesn't want you doing exactly what you're doing right now, doesn't want you following God because of all the things we've just read. And so being aware of that, it's even more important for us to follow the Lord and ask the Lord to give us our guidance and direction, to trust in Him, to take care of us. And when we encounter people like this, how to deal with them when those things happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you so much for saying that, because Jesus dealt with all of us, all sinners, and He didn't come here for His benefit. He came here for all of our benefit. He gave His life for all of us. And it's hard for us to comprehend that whole thing. But that's exactly what happened. And Jesus could have come here and given all of His teachings and been detached from the people, but it was exactly the opposite. He tried to reach as many people as he possibly could. And so He was separated. He didn't join with them in wickedness that they were doing, but at the same time, He didn't avoid telling them about God and God's plan of salvation, all those things. And so, relying on the armor of God, that's what we have to do. Absolutely, what you said, and what Brother Jerry said this morning is, if we try to rely on our own strength to handle those situations, we don't have it. We don't have enough to do that. When we rely on the Lord, ask for His help. Ask for His help ahead of time. I know I'm going to face situations like this. Lord, please help me, so that when it does happen, then I can handle it the right way. And the Lord will help you. He'll do it. Okay, I guess we better keep going. We got to catch up. Chapter 4, verse 20 through 27. Somebody like to take that? Thanks, Sister Helen. So here we're told to watch ourselves, to listen to what Solomon is saying here, and God is inspiring him to write. Let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep them in the midst of thy heart, for they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. So be diligent. So it's not just learning what the Bible says, right? It's being diligent in our application of what it says. Is that easy to do? All the things that it says here? And, mhm. Mhm. And it is a path. And if you think about a map, right? So if you think about a map and you have a destination and you're walking the right direction, but if you only walk the right direction for a few minutes and then you don't pay much attention to it, what's going to happen? You're probably going to be lost, right? And depending on how long of a journey you're going to take, um, our kids were in Scouts. Hope went off and did some, I don't know, 200-mile thing, whatever. Feet were looking pretty bad when she got back, but they followed maps. And if they didn't follow a map, they would be lost. And then what, right? You might need to be rescued if you get too far lost. And so, Brother Mike, thanks for saying that, because we can do the right thing. We can be in church and do the right thing while we're at church. Everything's fine. Monday, first thing, go to work. Someone meet you at the door and say something insulting. That happens to me. And then do you remember all the stuff the Lord tells you to do? I hope so, right? We don't just learn it just for here. We're learning it to apply it in our lives. So hopefully we can do that. I think I mentioned this before, but there was a man, every single thing we went to, every event we went to, this guy would find me. There'd be 100 people, 200 people, 1,000 people. He would find me every single time. I would even think, how did he find me? And he would, yeah. And he would say something. I was like, why in the world would he say this? Why in the world would he say this? And it wasn't like you're ugly or anything like that. I mean, he didn't say it exactly like that. But there's always some just weird remark, right? Obviously not complimentary. And so I just never could figure it out. And I just figured out God's just testing me. That's all it is. God's just testing me to see if I react to it in a negative way or whatever. I never did, thankfully. Uh, and if I remembered ahead of time, I'd pray about it. I know I'm going to see this person, Lord. Please help me. Because my reaction, you say, well, Dan, you're just stupid. You don't know anything. My natural reaction isn't just to be nice and friendly and everything else, after somebody says that. Uh, so, uh, so here, watch yourself. Remember the Lord, remember wisdom, remember the example Jesus set for us. That's what we should be remembering when we encounter these situations, is how did he confront these situations? How does God want us to do it? Not the way that's natural for me to respond. That's the thing we're trying to fight against, is doing it that way, and do it God's way. And so just like following a map, if we do this the right way, we'll get to a destination, and we'll be much better off than we would if we would have done it some other way. And so, and we don't have to figure it all out by ourselves. You can look at anybody you want to look at and say, what path did they take? How did they get there? What's their life like? All those sorts of things. You can see people that follow God, people that don't follow God, and see how did it work out for them. And sometimes you'll see people seem like they're doing just fine, everything you see publicly, but it's not necessarily how it is. We hear about that all the time. Okay, So let's go ahead and keep going here. If we could go to chapter 5 and let's see. How about all the way to 13? Thank you, Sister Darla. So you look at this and it says the forsake lust, and obviously there's a temptation there. And if you look around in our society, there's pretty much every single place they sell anything based on sex. You can see in any commercial, every advertisement, everything you might see. And here we're being admonished to go the other direction, to take another path, and to go the other way. And I'm so glad there's not just the words here, but an example too with Joseph and Potiphar's wife. Do you remember that from Genesis? So that's Genesis 39. And I'll just go through it real quickly here. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, brought him out of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer of his house, and all that he had he put into his hand. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him an overseer of the house, and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in his house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not aught he had save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored. Then verse 7, and it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast his eyes upon Joseph, and she said, Lie with me. But he refused and said unto his master's wife, Behold, my master wotteth not what it is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he hath into my hand. There is none greater in this house than I, neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? And it came to pass, as she spoke to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her to lie by her or to be with her. And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men in the house there within. And she caught him by his garment, saying, Lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out. So there's a real example with a lot of details of how it happened. And we see there that Joseph did the right thing. He ran away. He went completely the other direction. Was he worried about what people were going to think about it? Was he worried about leaving his garment behind? Probably, but he was doing what the Lord told him to do, was to flee. And so it goes way beyond all this for Joseph. Joseph was blessed. He was put into prison, and then he made his way out of prison. The Lord blessed him for being righteous and for following his will. And that's what the Lord has in store for us if we follow his way and his will related to what Solomon is teaching us and what Joseph just experienced. And so uh, we must be careful. We must not take it for granted. When we're in a situation of temptation, go the other direction. Do something else. If this is an area that you're struggling with, then ask the Lord for help. Sister Nicole talked about the shield, and so did Brother Jerry. That shield is a real shield that God has for us if we ask Him for His help. That's the most wonderful, beautiful thing about the Lord is He has all of this ready to help us, but we have to ask. If we don't ask, He may not help us that time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's way more to it, isn't there, than just me saying. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, and I would say the way to think about that is many things can be true at the same time, right? And I think that even speaks to the universality of the truths that are here. Is there true more than one reason? There's more than one reason to do it the way that God's telling us. And the penalties, not all the penalties are listed here, but there are many penalties that you can face as a result of it, or of any of these sins that are being mentioned. And so the Lord's telling us in Proverbs, here's the right way, here's the easy way, here's the path I recommend you take. And if we want to see what happens if you don't do it that way, we got a whole rest of the Bible. We can study a lot of other examples of people not doing it the right way. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you.